zero testosterone. Nil point zero. So first of all, I'm going to cover why this actually happened to me. So if you guys have been following my content, you will know that I recently stopped taking anabolic steroids. So I was injecting myself with testosterone enanthate. When you inject testosterone from outside of the body into your body, and that is called exogenous testosterone. Obviously, my body usually would be producing its own endogenous, which means inside the body, so natural production of in my body of testosterone. The reason my body keeps on producing that testosterone is because it consistently gets a signal that it needs to keep producing that testosterone in order to keep having testosterone in the body, otherwise it's not going to come from anywhere else. So as soon as you start introducing exogenous testosterone, that testosterone is coming into your body and it's being present in your body. So your brain starts getting signals saying, oh, actually, there is plenty of testosterone present. Like, we don't need to produce any more testosterone at the moment. So long as you keep injecting that testosterone, that signal keeps being sent to the brain. So your body shuts down its production of testosterone. And that is the reason why you lose your fertility, or in most cases, people lose their fertility when they are taking testosterone or anabolic steroids, is because their natural production of testosterone shuts off. And long story short, that is kind of like a circuit breaker between the natural production of testosterone, like your testicles, your LH levels and your FSH levels, and essentially it all then shuts down. So your body stops producing sperm, it is no longer fertile, but that is initially triggered by the shutting off of the natural production of testosterone. So the whole time that I was on steroids, my body was producing no testosterone. However, and this is where it gets a bit tasty, when you stop taking testosterone, your body has to fully clear all of that testosterone that you've been injecting before the natural production even has a chance to kickstart, because it's still sending those signals to the brain saying, actually, there's testosterone present, we don't need to produce any more. So when you then stop injecting, depending what ester of testosterone you're injecting, there are long esters, there are short esters, and there's kind of like medium esters, in the sense of the long esters mean when you inject that form of testosterone, it will break down slower in your body than, for example, a medium or a short-term ester. So testosterone enanthate is considered kind of like middle of the group in terms of esters. It has a half-life of 4 to 5 days. So say, for example, I inject 100 milligrams of testosterone, okay? After 4 to 5 days, that amount in my body is halved. So as you can imagine, I still then have 50 milligrams sitting around. So actually it's going to take a couple weeks for that to kind of fully clear to the amount where it's pretty negligible, which is why in my specific instance, when I did my last injection, it then took about 4 to 5 weeks for all of the testosterone that I'd been injecting to fully clear out of my system. And as I said before, my body had to wait for that to fully clear, for that signal to then be sent back to my brain to start producing the natural testosterone again. If that signal was going to reoccur, there's always a chance. If you shut yourself down, that signal might not come back. You might not be able to start producing testosterone again. It's quite unlikely, depending on the circumstances, how long you were taking it for, how much you were taking, how much you looked after your blood work, also what your natural production was like before you started taking steroids, and your fertility, XYZ. All of these factors come into play with kind of the likelihood of your natural production coming back. So all of these things are a risk, and obviously if that testosterone production doesn't come back, that means your fertility is not coming back. So obviously in my circumstances, I had to wait for that testosterone to fully clear before my body had a chance to restart its natural production. So at a point, for a period of time, I had zero testosterone, rock bottom, scraping the barrel, no testosterone, okay? Or at least very, very low levels of testosterone. And I'll go into my approach in terms of PCTing and everything around that, in terms of like allowing my natural production to come back, my fertility to come back. Has it come back yet? Like all of that stuff I'll cover in the next video, but for now we're just going to talk about my experience of having zero testosterone. So firstly, let me just say it was no fun at all. I mean, I kind of was prepared for a period of feeling not great, to say the least, because obviously I did my research. I knew what was required out of my body to go through this process of coming off steroids and coming off testosterone. So I was semi-prepared for it, but it definitely did not stop it from sucking, because it wasn't too fun. So first of all, low energy and mood was a very significant factor that I noticed a lot. And it was just for like, there was no reason for me to be low energy. There was no reason for me to be moody and have like a low mood and just like low enthusiasm for life, really. And I would just experience that day to day for a period of time that I had those low testosterone levels. Number two, and this kind of correlates to the low energy, even if I slept 9 hours, 10 hours, deeply straight through, I had like a good sleep time and like a normal wake time, I didn't like kind of screw up my sleeping pattern. If I had a good night's sleep, basically, I would still feel absolutely exhausted in the morning. It was ridiculous. Like, I'd wake up and I would have been asleep for like 9 hours straight, didn't wake up during the night, faultless night's sleep in my opinion, but I would then wake up and just be like, oh, did I even sleep? It would literally feel that way. And yeah, it's a very common side effect. So if you guys potentially experience a similar thing, even when you are sleeping enough, and we're talking like 8+ hours every single night, and you're consistently waking up feeling exhausted still, then maybe it's something you need to check out. Number three, I had low motivation to train, as you can imagine. And a big part of the reason for that was obviously the low energy, low enthusiasm for life in general, but also I started to notice my strength going down, worse pumps. And obviously when you start noticing you're losing strength despite still training your ass off in the gym, your pumps are getting worse, it's almost like you're just fighting a losing battle. So inevitably your motivation starts to go down. I did, however, still keep on top of it as best as possible. I don't think I really missed a session. Maybe I took an extra rest day here and there just because I was absolutely knackered. But in terms of training, I still stayed on it, still stayed consistent. But it definitely tested my discipline, because I really did not feel like training at all during that kind of whole entire period of time where I had rock bottom testosterone. And very interestingly, so my libido was actually still there. I did definitely notice it go down. However, I did kind of expect it to just completely be gone for like a period of time. Didn't know how long that period of time would be, but I did expect it to just completely be gone. But I was actually surprised to see that it didn't completely go at any point. And that will kind of probably vary individual to individual. Like when I was natural, before I started taking steroids, I was functioning at a very high rate in terms of my hormones. Like if you guys go back and watch my natural blood work video, all of my hormones, my sex hormones like testosterone, everything, my follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, all of that were through the roof. So essentially I was functioning very, very well in terms of like my fertility, my libido, testosterone, etc. So potentially for me, that could be a good reason why my libido didn't completely go. And maybe for others that weren't functioning so strongly naturally, they might have experienced like a complete trash of the libido, okay? But that's just what I experienced, which I thought was quite interesting. And the last side effect that I noticed, and this is probably one of the worst ones that I really just didn't like at all, and I also once again kind of knew this was going to happen, or probably was going to happen, is acne. It got so much worse for a period of time, because acne is often stimulated by fluctuations in hormones, okay? If your hormone levels are stable, unless you have too much hormones coursing through your body, your acne is probably going to be quite stable as well, okay? But obviously when I was on testosterone, I was on a super physiological amount of steroids, which is why in my other video I was talking about how my acne was gradually getting worse. That wasn't to do with hormone fluctuations as such, it was more to do with just my body couldn't handle that amount of testosterone without just producing more acne and more oil on my skin, so on and so forth. But like, aside from that, the biggest time you're going to get acne, just as kind of like a natural, I guess, is when you have hormone fluctuations. And it doesn't discriminate whether that's hormone fluctuating down or hormones fluctuating up, okay? So as you can imagine, I had a couple-week period where my hormones were essentially tanking down to 0, and then a couple-week period where my hormones were then coming back up, and restarting, both of those instances caused acne to just pop up on my back. It wasn't like awful, but it was bad. It wasn't great, which I really hated. However, obviously once things then stabilize again, it will clear up, and I know that is the case. It's just one of those things that I had to kind of grit my teeth through really, and I knew was just something I was gonna have to accept. So yeah, that was pretty sucky, but one of those, it is what it is. So guys, that is my experience of having zero testosterone. If you are watching this and you're sitting there and thinking, oh yeah, I have that, I also have that, and you maybe relate to a couple of the things that I've said, or even just one of the main things that I've said, consider going and seeing your doctor, getting a blood test, getting your testosterone levels done, because you could very well have low testosterone levels, be experiencing these things, and be missing out on a huge quality of life boost that you would get from bringing up your testosterone levels naturally. And I would always say to anyone, try and bring your testosterone levels up naturally first, with natural remedies, natural strategies. Do that first. Do not just resort to testosterone replacement therapy and injecting yourself with testosterone because you're too lazy to try and do things naturally, okay? Because that is not a smart decision. And I hear far too many people messaging me on Instagram basically saying they're doing that when they haven't even really given a chance to bring their natural levels up. If you're worried about having low testosterone levels, highly recommend getting yourself a coach, unless you know exactly what you're doing, unless you are very confident that you know how to manage your nutrition, training, lifestyle factors, and everything in between optimally to boost your testosterone levels. Also, natural supplements that can boost your testosterone levels and are actually effective. Unless you know all of that information, I strongly recommend getting a coach. I coach myself. I also know plenty of good coaches, so if you either want to work with me or you want some recommendations on good coaches that can help you guys with potentially a problem with low testosterone, give me a message or click the link in the description and fill out my application form. We can then get booked in for a free consultation call, chat through your goals, chat through everything, pricing, XYZ, and then take the next steps to get moving towards your goals. Also, I do obviously coach guys and girls to achieve all sorts of other goals as well. So no matter what your goal is, if you want to level up as a whole, you want to develop yourself, you want to develop your physique, your mindset, your overall productivity, your morning routines, your evening routines, your success overall in life, click that link in the description or send me a DM on Instagram and we can get you started working towards your goals. But anyway, that is all from me today, guys. I hope you learned something today, took something of value away from this video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below any questions, any opinions. What do you think of my decision to stop taking steroids? I want to hear it down below. And of course, consider subscribing. I mean, I'd be a bad YouTuber if I didn't say that at the end of my video, wouldn't I? That is it for today, guys. I hope you are having a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you guys in the next video.